All right, everybody, what is going on? Hopefully everybody is having a great night, a great day. Hopefully all is right in your world. I am John Wangland, and joining me as always is my partner right here on the Retro Wrestling Revival, Mr. Richie Reardon. Richie, what is going on, my friend?
Not much, man. I zoomed home as fast as I could. I apologize for us being a little bit late. It's my fault. I had a side job, and then I had to just scarf down a sandwich in record timing because I haven't eaten all day, so I can't be more excited to be here on the Retro Wrestling Revival, us breaking down our topic tonight. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good show, and hope you guys enjoy it, man.
Bro, I never saw anybody eat a chicken sandwich as fast as you just ate a chicken sandwich in my life. I thought I was an impressively fast eater, but you just put me to shame on that one, buddy.
Dude, it's the old military days. It's like they tell us, when you're in basic training, a spoon isn't a spoon, it's a shovel. Gotta scarf it down and get back to work, baby.
Oh, man, that's the way it is. 1,000%. That's how it rolls, man. So how has your week been starting off? Other than busy, you been doing good?
Yeah, it's been good, man. Being busy is good in my life because when Richie's stuck at home, Richie in here, alone and an introvert is not good. So I love working, I love podcasting, I love staying busy. Keeps me out of trouble, and so we're good, man. How about you?
Oh man, it's been a busy week so far, man. Been on the road for like 6 out of the last 7 work days in a row. I think I've logged about 1,500 miles over that time already, just driving. So yeah, it's been long. It's been a long couple weeks, and it just keeps going. But I like that, man. It keeps me busy, and like you said, I don't like being idle and not doing anything. So, and I'm always glad to be here because we always have a great time here on the show. And tonight is no different. We got a fun topic that I think everybody will enjoy, and it's going to be the worst wrestling factions ever. That's going to be our top area of discussion tonight because this is one I bet we can get a bunch of episodes out of because let's be realistic. There's some really awful wrestling factions in the history of professional wrestling. And we're definitely going to talk about more than a few of them tonight. But we want to welcome everybody who's joining us live. We tape this is for our Saturday radio show. So for everybody listening on Saturday on WDJY, you got to come out and you got to join us on Tuesdays. We always have a great time with our community out here, and we turn the end of the show over each week to the great followers of the page and all the fans of the Retro Wrestling Revival. And tonight's no different. We'll do that at the end. And we just want to thank everybody. We hit over 20,000 followers on our Facebook page. Can you believe that?
That's awesome, man. That's it's an inspiration to keep going and keep building this thing, and hopefully y'all are enjoying it. And the live ones are fun. Like, I was really excited tonight that it's our live show. We've got a really great group of guys that come out and fans and stuff like that of the show, and we get to have them be interactive with it. It's my favorite format that we do. I love the radio stuff, I love the podcast stuff, but this live stuff is really cool.
Yeah, it's always a blast to do it live. And we got a glitch in our face.
Joe Rogan Jamie now. We got a Jamie. It's a Jeremy.
Yeah, we got Jeremy. Jeremy's a great guy, great fan of the show. What's going on, Jeremy? We got a glitch in the system on our Facebook. I'm trying to get corrected. It doesn't notify our followers and stuff when things are going live now for whatever reason, and Meta is terrible about fixing things.
I wonder why.
I know. Geez, I can only wonder why. That is the case. So if you're one of the great 20,000 plus followers of the page, we apologize that if you didn't get notified because there's a glitch on there and you can't get any help. Hey, what's going on, Mr. Richard? How are you tonight? Great to see you out. I think it's our first time seeing you out, Richard. So welcome. Hopefully you have a great time tonight here on the show with us. We're going to have a lot of great discussion, and welcome once again to everybody. If you haven't already done so, please make sure you follow us on YouTube, like and subscribe to the page. Give a big thumbs up to the video on Facebook or YouTube. We'd greatly appreciate that. And that's all the housekeeping that we're going to do. So let's get on into the main format. We're doing good over here, Richard. It's great to see you. And Jeremy, great to see you and everybody else popping on here shortly. This is a topic that I've been looking forward to doing. You mentioned it a few weeks ago, and I've been looking forward to this one for a while. And tomorrow we're going to go extreme like we do for the radio shows that air on Sunday. But tonight we're going to look at the worst of the worst factions in professional wrestling history. And by God, bro, I was going and doing just a little bit of research to reacclimate myself to a few of these, and holy jeez,
I'm shooting from the hip. I didn't do any research from.
Don't even worry, man.
You know what? I got some in my head already that are popping up. If you're a true wrestling fan, you can shoot from the hip. So
what's going on, Daniel? Have no fear. Unlike Veer, I am here.
What up, buddy?
What's going on, my friend? All right, give me one right off the bat. Worst wrestling factions. Okay, so we want to hear yours too for the great listeners out there, the great
Yeah, throw them
people.
out there.
Throw them out there as we're going through this.
I've
Is an
got a
interactive
great one
show.
to start off with,
Hit
man.
me with it. Come on.
These people have become like the internet trolls, the ex-professional wrestlers, the internet trolls now. That was their old occupation was ex-professional wrestlers. They never really got anywhere too big. I mean, one of them did. There's a Hall of Famer in there.
Okay.
But it's the Filthy Animals, man.
Yes.
You got Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio is the exception to this rule. I love Rey Mysterio, but Conan and Glenn, Mr. Glenn Gilberti, those two, with the Filthy Animals, I just couldn't stand them. Never could stand them. Thought it was dumb when Rey Mysterio got unmasked. It was the worst time in his career. And I just didn't like this stuff, man. Conan is not a good leader as far as a faction leader and stuff like that. And he was a mid card at best. And I never believed in it. Never thought it was a good one, and didn't like it.
There they are, right there. I already had them uploaded up. I loaded up.
Oh no, that's Misfits in action.
Okay, there we go. Filthy Animals.
Filthy Animals. Yeah.
Man, I did Misfits in action already. Sorry. I don't even know where it is here.
That's a spoiler, though.
We'll do that one next. We'll do that one next. I agree with you on the Filthy Animals, man. They were fucking terrible to me. I just didn't like it, though. Didn't they leave Ric Flair out in the desert to die or something like that?
Yeah, something stupid. They were just involved in some corny shit all the time, and I just didn't enjoy that at all.
Yeah, Ray was the precursor of Dirty Dom and the Filthy Animals.
Yes. No doubt about that.
The Cole twins, Jeremy's throwing out. Daniel, I'll get to your other one here in the comments in just a second, and I'll try to get to all these, as we go through tonight. I might not be able to touch on everybody's because we're gonna have a lot, I'm sure. All right, so I might as well go to that next one that I just showed the graphic for, the Misfits in action. So I believe this was a Vince Russo creation right here.
Yeah.
You had, I'm trying to remember all the names.
Lash LaRue, baby.
Yeah, you had Lieutenant Loco, Lash LaRue. You had General Huge Erection.
Corporal Cajun was Lash LaRue.
Oh, he was Corporal Cajun. Who was, let's see, Booker was G.I. Bro, right?
G.I. Bro.
Yeah, Lieutenant Loco was Chavo Guerrero.
Yep.
Major Guns, I forget, what was Brad Armstrong's name?
I can't remember. I thought it was.
No, he wasn't in there. That's Lash. Sorry.
Yeah,
that's Lash right
Hammer.
there. What was Van Hammer? I don't remember him.
I can't remember his, and I can't remember. I think it was Captain. What was it? Captain what? Captain. I can't remember what Hugh Morris's was.
Hugh Morris was General Huge Erection.
Oh, General Erection. That's right. Yeah.
General Huge Erection with the great Vince Russo's using all those things to do that. Look at the talent you have in here, minus Van Hammer and Major Guns. I'll take her out. Her talent was beautiful. Lash LaRue was a great worker. Chavo Guerrero, great worker. Hugh Morris, great worker. And Booker T, amazing worker too, and a world champion. And that's the best you can do for them is to call them, this faction.
Chavo Guerrero even, I think, should arguably be a Hall of Famer as well.
He could be up and definitely in a lot of people's book as a Hall of Famer. I wouldn't deny that one. Van Hammer, this guy was just a fucking hanger-oner with everything like that. He just always found a way to maintain having a job for some reason. And
he's not hanging on anymore, man. He's got so many legal issues and stuff like that.
He's got some huge demons for sure. Yeah, he's got some huge demons for sure. All right, hit me with another one. Worst factions of all time.
I'm going to go, and this is one that it's not one that I hated. I just could have done without it because I think that the leader stood well on his own, and I would have liked to have seen Perry Saturn go out on his own as well. And I'm talking about the Flock, Ravens Flock, which is another one with Van Hammer. I didn't like Lodi. Every time I saw the Lodi signs and shit like that, I hated it. But then on the flip side of that, you needed those guys to build up the Benoit storyline that they had. They had a DDP storyline that was great. So they did have some good things that they were featured in. A lot better than Filthy Animals and MIA. I'll tell you that much. So
they were better, the Ravens version that he would kind of do it in ECW, I think was a lot better than this goofy bunch of people that he brought together. I mean, they brought the Yeti in, as big Ron Reese, they brought him in. They had Sick Boy. They had Scotty Riggs in there as well.
Scotty Riggs should have been by himself.
Who was the Deadpool? Was that Van Hammer's group, Jeremy?
I can't remember Deadpool.
Yeah, I don't remember. Was the Deadpool Van Hammer's group? Hit me with that one. I don't remember. Like, there's so many of these. I can't remember all of them. Daniel brought up one here that I'll cover next, Richie. That was a good pick, by the way, that you just had. I agree. The Flock was just, like a fart in church to me for whatever reason.
Fart in church.
It just didn't do it. Let me make sure I get the right picture here. I believe I have the right picture here for this one. Give me a second. Here we go. Yeah, Daniel said Retribution. God awful.
God, talk about, dude. All these characters, they just put like a freaking Hannibal Lecter mask on and thought it was going to get over. It was like,
and then you had Mustafa Ali as your leader of this group. He was like the big reveal as the leader was Mustafa Ali.
It's didn't it?
Oh, this was awful.
Jeez.
This was during the dark ages of WWE in that period of time when Vince McMahon was just running it just into the ground and nobody could stop it. It was so bad at that point when you have Retribution as like one of your big staples that you're trying to push as like their
Wasn't Dominik Dijakovic one of the?
Yeah, he was in it.
Left there,
I think him and Mi Chin, I think, are the only two that are still employed by the WWE. Mia Yim and Dijakovic, I think, are the only ones that are still left. So Deadpool, Jeremy said, was Raven, Vampiro, and the Insane Clown Posse.
Oh, come on, man!
But look at the time period though when that was being booked.
I didn't know that was their name.
Well, there you go. I know how much of a fan you are of Vampiro, and we use his lead-in music here. Yeah. Well, let's look at the time frame though that was at and who was booking at the time. That was like the complete dysfunction of WCW right there at its finest. So I wonder why that didn't work out.
Yeah.
Was that WCW, Jeremy? Or was it
that was definitely WCW.
Okay.
I think, or was it TNA? No, the Insane Clown Posse was never in TNA. So yeah, it had to have been WCW.
Do you see that they came back in NWA a little while ago with to feud with Vampiro or something?
I did. I actually enjoyed the stuff with Vampiro and NWA. I thought it was really good.
All right, interesting. I haven't seen any of it really, except for a couple of clips. All the build up to the group Retribution, and they couldn't even get booed out of an empty building. Yeah,
dude, when you're getting booed at Full Send, like there's a problem.
Yep. Yep. 100%. Richard said, "Yeah, Deadpool was WCW." Hit me with another one that you got.
I'm gonna go with the Job Squad, man.
Al Snow's group.
I feel really because Al Snow should have been on his own, and I feel really bad for Hardcore Holly. He got paired in there, and he was really talented. I think he should be a Hall of Famer too. Too Cold Scorpio, I think could have went off on his own. I don't think that faction should have ever been a thing. It was just sloppily thrown together. It just felt like, it was a place.
It was just something to do with them.
Yeah. And I'm never for just doing something to throw it at the wall and see if it sticks in wrestling, because 9 times out of 10 it fucking doesn't. So, and this was one of those cases, man.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. I mean they tried. It just didn't work.
All they did was they threw a white shirt on these guys that had them getting, a white outline or a chalk outline of somebody getting pinned, and it basically said these guys are fucking losers and they're going to lose the match every time.
They're just trying to get everybody on the show at that point.
It was the most pointless shit ever,
Yeah, definitely. It definitely wasn't too good. This is a doozy right here. It's from AEW, and it's when they first started. I thought I had a picture of them, but I don't. Unfortunately, I'm not going to pop it up right now just because it'll take too much time to load it up. But Daniel had mentioned it too earlier. We were actually kind of talking about this earlier, and it was the Nightmare Collective, which was,
oh boy,
you remember this, right?
You went heavy after fucking Evil Uno, dude.
Bro, this was Brandy Rhodes leading a faction of Awesome Kong.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, this is Brandy Rhodes.
My bad.
Awesome Kong, Luther eventually, who was Luther. And they had a bald girl that they put in there named Mel. She was a bald girl named Mel.
Yeah.
And Brandy Rhodes was the driving force of this faction right here.
That lasted, 2 weeks?
Maybe about 6, at the most.
And
then Kong was gone, and then it was over with right there.
Yeah.
It was just awful. It was one of the many awful factions that AEW has had to. Like, once again, this is all promotions all across everything. We're not leaving anybody out of this. And Nightmare Collective, this was like a fart in church right here. This thing was terrible.
I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna go with one that people wouldn't expect me to say because I enjoyed parts of it, but very few parts of it. The reason why I'm putting this on this list is they fumbled it so badly, and it could have been so good that it's disappointing, and it's the NWO Wolfpack.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I thought they fumbled it so bad. They should have never brought Sting in it. He should have never been a part of the NWO at all. They just, with the finger poke of doom and stuff like that. I think the NWO Wolfpack storyline was one of the reasons WCW died.
Interesting.
Really. I mean, that's how bad they fumbled it.
Yeah, we had a good conversation on the NWO last week and kind of on the Wolfpack too. I was never a big fan of it either. That was for me. And it just...
There were some good points. There were some good points of it. Like when they came out that night in the FUBU jerseys with, it looked like it was going to be a gang war between NWO Hollywood and NWO Red and Black. The Wolfpack, it fell off quicker than shit.
Richard agrees with you on this one. What did you guys think about NWO Wolfpack? Let's throw it out to you guys on this one.
Still a lot of selling shirts. I mean, merchandise-wise, it's amazing. But
I was never just a big fan of it, I wasn't even a big fan of it either. I like the original version. What do you guys think, though? You guys fans of the Wolfpack? Or are you down with the Wolfpack or no? I'll go to another one when you're talking about the NWO 2, and it's right on the highlight here. And I'll just bring the graphic back up here. It was NWO 2000 with Double J, Jeff Jarrett, Bret Hart, Scott Steiner, Kevin Nash. This was just WCW's last-ditch effort to try to get something out of the NWO and to think it was going to work.
And Bret Hart. I mean, let's be real. Bret Hart had checked out at this point. I mean, they made him champion and everything. That's another one that they fumbled big time and really hurt their company. They brought in Bret Hart and they put him as a bad guy in the NWO. It didn't make any sense.
Jeremy says, don't turn your back on the Wolfpack. Daniel says, I enjoyed some of the Wolfpack, but they ruined it by not putting Hall in it. Hall was the perfect version.
That was the key point I made on that show we talked about.
He was the perfect person to go.
Why would you split the outsiders up?
They just don't.
You put Lex Luger in there over Scott Hall?
Yeah, it just doesn't fit, man. And that those guys are always thick as thieves. That's just the whole thing. Yeah. It just didn't work. And the way that they tried to do it was just terrible. Yeah. What's Pro Wrestling Takeover, Derek? Tell me what Pro Wrestling Takeover is.
And hey,
throw
Derek,
your stuff out
by the
there.
way.
Yep, welcome, my friend. Throw your stuff out there if that's your group.
Takeover.
Yep, throw it out there if you got some information or a link, and we'll gladly promote it for you. Yeah. Let's see. Richard said, I love the black and white, but not too much the Wolfpack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The days of Hogan when he first did the heel turn and stuff were some of the most epic things in the wrestling history. So I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. Hit me with another one.
Man.
We're just spitballing them out here tonight.
Yeah.
There's so many.
If I could pick one that was kind of like, WCW invasion era of WWE, I got to go with X-Pac's group, X Factor.
Dude, you read my mind. I have it up there too. All right, right here. There we go. What screams not getting over more than Just Incredible, X-Pac, and Albert together? These guys couldn't get any heat at all for one another, and it just didn't work.
You know what, dude? I think, honestly, if they would have took Albert out of it, I think that it would have been a lot better as a tag team. I don't think they needed to go as a full-fledged faction like they were trying to do. But as a tag team, I think Just Incredible and X-Pac could have got that over as heels. When they added Albert to it, I think it was the kiss of death. And it's not saying that, Albert isn't a good mid-card wrestler. He obviously was for how many years he worked for WWE at the top level of wrestling. But it just didn't work for me as far as X Factor is concerned. I thought it was bullshit, because he still wore the attire that he had in TNA. They didn't even change that up.
Well, Credible and X-Pac were definitely on a downward slide of their career and were going through a lot of demons, I think, at that point too. And Albert was always a dependable guy, great trainer down in NXT. I think he was one of the guys.
He was never a star, though. I don't think they should put him in developmental.
But he was a big star in Japan and had a great run in Japan, though. So yeah, maybe he wasn't over in there, but doesn't take away from being a good trainer. Look who else they got there as big trainers. Norman Smiley was never a big star in the States. There's a lot of people over there.
They're good workers, and they're training good workers. But what they're not doing, and thank God they have people like Shawn Michaels there now and Undertaker participating a little bit, because those are the guys that are going to teach you how to go from just a good worker and a mid-carder, which is what we've had for the past, 12 years now of these NXT people. They come out, they're great workers in the ring, but they're not stars, know?
Yeah, no doubt about it. Good.
And unfortunately, like one of them, for instance, Karrion Kross, they had him. He was on his way to being superstardom, and they dropped the ball. Yep,
100%. Derek went back to the NWO years. The original eventually got stale. Absolutely, the Wolfpack was refreshing until they combined it in Hollywood again. and then the finger poke of doom killed it. Yeah,
Build
I'm going to try to get
WCW.
to everybody's here. You guys are throwing a lot of great ones at me, so if I miss a few, I apologize. I'm trying to keep up with them all. This is great. Keep them coming. Fire them all out there. We want to hear them all. We love this. This is why we love doing live streams. So fire them all out there. I'm going to do the best that I can. Rand, we just covered X Factor just a minute ago, and welcome.
And hey, Rand, welcome to the show.
Nice to see you, my friend. Jeremy, I'm going to get to yours right now. This is one of the worst factions of all time. This was the reason why the NWO came in, because they ran this for years, and it was bad. The Dungeon of Doom.
Dungeon of Doom.
You hear that awful music, just every awful gimmick in the world that was in there. The what they have, it
was the most hokey shit in WCW.
Terrible. It was so bad. And then you had Hogan and Savage fighting them forever. The Dungeon of Doom never won. Poor Hogan got dry humped by the Yeti and the Giant at one point. What else did we have? We had Norman the Lunatic, aka Bastion Booger. I think he was in WWE, coming in as one of the leaders, along with Kevin Sullivan. Oh my gosh, it was absolutely dreadful. The DOA, the Disciples of Apocalypse, horrible group, terrible. Yes.
Authors of Pain, terrible.
They did great in NXT and came to the main roster and sucked and still suck now as they came back. It just is terrible. Yeah, No Limit Soldiers was terrible. With
Jesus, I forgot about that, dude.
Yeah, that was the rapper Master P. I think, right?
He would go on there and say "hootie hoo" every 5 seconds.
Yeah. Oh Jesus, that was bad. Richard, I'm going to get to that one. Jeremy, I'm going to hit a version of that in just a minute.
I've got a good one. I've got a
Right to Censor.
The Alliance. Cover that one.
Okay, let's hit Derek's other one, the Alliance. We've covered that a lot on the show here and how they fucked that up. Excuse my language, but how they messed that one up. Alliance definitely was not very good either. No. Right to Censor, hit on it, Richie. Go for it.
Dude, Right to Censor was so bad. There was 2 individuals, and one of them I personally have spoken to, Sean Morley. He lives out here in Arizona. He runs a dispensary out here. I get to talk to him every now and then. That was one of his most hated times in his career because he was forced into doing it. And it didn't make any damn sense. I mean, I understand, he was a porn star and they were trying to, kayfabe porn star, whatever. And they were trying to turn him into that. But, the other person was the Godfather. The Godfather hated every minute of it. He didn't want to do it. Yeah. They almost made him want to quit WWE because of that. I mean, it was that bad.
The music was so bad too, and just so annoying and agitating coming out.
Oh. Yeah, but maybe that was the purpose of it,
It definitely was the purpose of it. They got a lot of heat. I think it was probably, if you looked at Stevie Richards, it was probably the biggest moment of his career leading that faction.
Yeah, it had to have been.
Yeah. I mean, no disrespect to Stevie. He's a great wrestler, great wrestling
mind. He's been in how many years? He's been in?
Forever. I mean, he has a great YouTube channel where he breaks it down. I'm surprised they don't pick a guy like that's brain more often, to be honest with you. He's a smart dude. So, but I mean, that was probably the biggest moment of his career. Great picks there, Derek. I'll go back to you 1 second, Richie. This is one right here. The Core. Remember the Core?
Oh, God. That's a good modern day one. Holy crap.
This was NXT. They split up. They split up the Nexus and brought more guys in, and they tried to kind of split it up and had the Core. This was their idea.
Look at Heath Slater's
why am I doing this?
Yeah, like soccer mom haircut he's got there. That's pretty funny.
Wade Barrett was just wasted at this point too. Yeah. And then they put the big African American gentleman, Ezekiel Jackson, I think his name was.
Jackson, yeah,
something like that in there.
He had some talent, man.
He was a big dude. Yeah, he was a big dude. He just didn't have a lot of personality. So, what do you got for another one? Hit me with another one here.
So, the next one I got is from TNA, and the reason why I picked this one is because these two were one of my favorites and favorite tag team of all time, but. When they were over in TNA, they were over there for the wrong reasons. They were bitter and stuff like that. They got along with Conan and Ron the Truth Killings. And I'm talking about Voodoo Kim Mafia, man. This is something that could have been really great with the Road Dogg and Billy Gunn reuniting. But unfortunately, lightning didn't strike twice for them, man. They just couldn't get it over. And, people didn't get the references they were making to Vince McMahon. And a lot of people took it as them being bitter, for being fired for their own drug abuse problems over in WWF at the time. So, Voodoo Kin Mafia for me, definitely one of the not so shining moments for the New Age Outlaws.
I wasn't a big TNA guy, ever, so I never really watched it too much. I remember hearing about it, but I never watched it much at that point. So I
Yeah.
really didn't get a chance to see too much of it and what they were doing. I remember they took some digs at like Triple H and everybody over there, for a
Hmm.
bit. But that's all I really remember from it. I don't have too much
Right.
recollection of the Voodoo Kin Mafia. We hit on a few here really fast. Los Boricuas, terrible.
Oh
I could have
God.
done without the hairy back guy.
Oh my
If he is
God. I could have
on,
done it without all of them.
yeah, if the hairy back guy is on, I skip through the match or I leave. Ask Chris.
Yeah.
We're watching Raw right now, and our Raw
That's a
Nitro
pee
series.
break for sure.
It's done. As soon as hairy back guy comes on, I'm out the door. I can't look at that guy. He looks like a human fucking Sasquatch. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's terrible. That
Right.
gang warfare stuff at that time is dreadful. It's
Yeah,
dreadful
it
to
is.
go back and rewatch it right now. Like I just want to skip through it. Oddities, a good one right here. Derek said
I like the oddities.
they were fun, but it was terrible.
It was a
It was
great
awful.
filler. It
You
was a
had
great filler.
Kurgan, Golga, which was Earthquake under the thing, walking out looking
Yeah.
with the Cartman shirt and all
I
that
love
stuff.
that shit.
Luna Vachon. It was funny,
Because
but
what
it was
else
awful.
could you do with those guys at the time?
Nothing. It was that
Nothing.
away from some of
They
them.
were
to
the
just get a
oddities.
paycheck.
I mean, you
Yeah.
had to.
The $1 Million Corporation, 94, 95 was pretty bad too. Yeah, and Ted, you could see, his heart was not really into it at
No.
that point. And he's admitted that, when he quit being an active wrestler, he was trying to get his life straight. So I'm sure it was a way for him to kind of keep cash rolling in, but it just definitely didn't work. The New Jersey group, DDP, Canyon, and
Dude,
Bigelow.
I was just gonna you Jeremy. We're like this. Jamie, we're like
Jeremy.
Yeah, no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Jamie. Oh yeah, from Rogan.
Yeah.
Is Jamie the African American guy on there?
No, he's the white guy.
Who is this? So I'm watching it in the barber shop the other day
Mhm.
with Rogan, and there's this African American guy that he brings on the show. And this guy is so high and he's rambling on about nothing. My barber and I are talking and we're listening to this guy. And I just said, I feel dumber listening to this guy, or
I
maybe
have no idea.
he just rambles on about crazy things. It's wild.
Huh.
So, but yeah, the New Jersey Triad, I think is what they were called.
They were trying to recreate the ECW, Shane Douglas, Bam Bam Bigelow, Chris Candido group, and they failed miserably at it.
BWO, they sucked. Yeah.
Yeah, BWO.
It was funny though, for their.
I got one for you. You stole it, Derek.
No, I got. Okay, go ahead. I'll let you guys hit it up. I cannot pronounce your name because it's in Arabic, but hello to you, my friend. Welcome.
Put your hands together.
Don't knock 3 count right now,
dude.
please.
Come on.
They're
come
great.
On, John. You got one of the baddest men on planet Earth at the time.
That's the
Tank
best
Abbott.
part.
No, it wasn't. It really
Tank
wasn't.
Abbott dancing. He wanted to see the 3 count sing.
Dude, that ladder match was horrible where they had to get the the record off of the it was just that was all bad, dude. That was all bad.
Oh, awful. How's it going, Mootlock? Nice. I hope I said your name correctly there, my friend. Welcome to the stream. Great to see you out, my friend. It was funny, man. Come on.
Dude.
Put your hands together.
Could have done without all that.
Oh,
no
so
way.
good. Daniel agrees with me here. 3 counts theme was the true goat.
What was Kurt Henning's group where they were the country guys? All
right. Oh, the West Texas Rednecks.
There you go.
So we just put this up on our Facebook page. Chris put this up this last week. So he put up the Rap is Crap, them singing it. It's got over, I think, 250,000 plays on our Facebook right now.
Are you serious?
I swear to God. Go look on our Facebook. It's
That's pretty awesome.
Last I looked, it was, I think, 247,000. So close to 250,000 views.
Even in death, Kurt Hennig is still Mr. Perfect.
Bro, that song, the West Texas Rednecks, that was hilarious. It was meant to get the other, what was it, the Filthy Animals over, or the No Limit Soldiers, or one of the, whoever they were feuding with.
It was
one of them. It was meant to get them over, but it got the West Texas Rednecks over instead. I think it was the only time in Kendall Wyndham's career that he was relevant. So it was awesome. It should have 2 for 50 million. What a performance.
Should have been 2. Yeah, seriously. I've got one from the Attitude Era here, and I'm sure everybody can agree with me. And unfortunately, all 3 of them now have passed away. LOD 2000.
Oh yeah,
they tried to relaunch that.
Was going to be an honorable mention.
Yeah,
that was the one with Draws, right?
Draws, yep, Darren Drozdoff, and then you had Animal and Hawk, and they were trying to recreate the magic and have it be a three-way tag team and stuff like that. Hawk had some injuries at the time.
Well, then
that
they
were
started
actually
to
serious
exploit
ones.
his addiction issues and stuff.
That's
and
where it got really dark and not cool to me. Like that's
Yeah.
when I really started not liking it. You don't use that on somebody's,
like when WCW did it with Hall and having him come out drunk and acting like he was drunk.
Yeah.
He might have been drunk at the time.
WWE
I don't know.
just did it with Jeff Hardy in his recent return.
Yeah, a few years back. I don't like that stuff.
No.
Like I'm all about having fun. I just don't
Yeah.
like it.
No.
The NWA 1998. I don't think many people remember the NWA at that period of time. That was when they came over to WWF at the time, right, Derek?
Right.
And they were trying to bring them on and make them relevant again, and it just didn't
Yeah.
work.
Yeah,
Dan
Jeff Jarrett.
Severn, one of the baddest dudes ever, and you're parading them around like this.
Yeah.
Come on. There's so much more they could have done with that.
Sure.
The LWO, I agree, and they can now go on the list. Eddie could only do so much back then. It was another way to kind of rip off the WWE. The Ultimate Maniacs, total rip off of the Mega Powers. Yeah. And then the Ultimate Warrior was just a megalomaniac in every single way, and that was never meant to work. So
there's so many good ones.
No, the Ultimate Maniacs. What was the one with Macho and Warrior that they did? Was that Ultimate Maniacs, or was that?
I think that was the Ultimate Maniacs, wasn't it?
Well, they had Hogan. They had Hogan and him doing it. Jeremy, which one was it? Was it Macho and Warrior that they did, or was that the Warrior and Hogan version? Because they did both. So,
oh, dude, I just remembered one. Which one was the one with Alberto Del Rio, Sheamus, and?
All right, I got that one right here.
Right,
in my mind right here. They were called, I believe, the Alliance. God, what was the name of this group again? I just looked it up earlier. The Nationals or something. The Foreign Alliance. I can't even remember that. Somebody spit the name out for me here. I'm sorry.
It was so horrible, dude. Like this was a
Savage
dark side
Warrior.
of Savage and Warrior.
What was the name of that faction again? I'm sorry, folks. I'm blanking. League of Nations. Thanks,
League
Eric.
of Nations.
I appreciate that. I don't know why I'm
Alberto
blanking
Del Rio. That was one of the worst
Thanks,
points of his
Jeremy.
career.
And they got
Sheamus.
punked out at WrestleMania and looked like a bunch of jackasses on there. Like here you got four heels that were just all failing at the time.
Yeah.
And this is what their idea was. Now they could have gotten them really over it, but
sure.
I mean, let's go back to the picture on this one. Look at the list of guys, or look at the, the repertoire of guys here. Barrett was a star. Del Rio had a star appeal, former champion. Rusev is Rusev, great performer. Definitely could have been a world champion. Sheamus, I think he's a Grand Slam winner himself. He's done everything and is still going. That should have worked, but for whatever reason, it just didn't. It just did not work good. Yep. League of Nations, that was a good one. And Jeremy said, Savage and Warrior was the Ultimate Maniacs. I forget what Hogan and Warrior called it. Derek, here's one I'm going to hit. The Mexicools. If you want to talk about one of the most racist gimmicks ever, it's when you had three Hispanic gentlemen riding around on lawnmowers to the ring.
In jumpsuits.
Yeah. And what was that other guy's? Was that Super Crazy?
That's Psychosis, Juventud, and Super Crazy. Yeah.
And all three great performers. Let's just be honest. Great performers. Pioneers, for some of them are pretty much right around being at the time frame as pioneers of the WCW cruiserweight division. And you throw them in this stereotypical gimmick, and my gosh, that's what you get. We covered that one a little bit ago, Derek, with Retribution. We covered that probably before you popped on.
Still a good one, though. Still a good one.
It's dreadful. It's something we all want to forget. What else do you got? Hit me with another one.
Dude, I'm trying to think of a few. I could go with the women's one with Bailey and them as of recent. I didn't like
Damage Control.
Damage Control. Yeah, I thought
like
that was
either.
garbage. I don't know how everybody feels about that. I'm glad it propelled Bailey back into the title picture, but good God, that was awful.
Here's a good one. The Spirit Squad.
Oh, how do you hate? I don't support this one on here.
You don't support this one?
No, Dolph Ziggler. You got.
I'm not saying he's not great.
Kenny Dykstra. You got. I can't even remember these.
I'm not saying they're.
Oh, no, I'm just. I can't even fake this, dude. Yeah, it was
garbage. Thank God. I'm not saying Dolph's not great or Kenny wasn't a good worker and the other guys weren't okay. Male cheerleaders, and you're parading them around as like Vince's henchmen at the time against. I believe it was against Triple H and Shawn Michaels. They must have had a million matches with them. By gosh, that was
who it reminds me of, and it's somebody who should be mentioned on this episode as well. The Mean Street Posse.
Don't do it. You're doing it. I know that's why you did that right now, just to piss me off, because you know how much we love the Posse.
Dude.
Shane McMahon, Joey Adams, Rodney, and Pete.
Did that really hurt your feelings, bro?
I love the Posse.
Oh my god!
Me and
I don't think
Daniel
do.
we want to start a petition to bring the Posse back.
I swear to God, I will quit watching wrestling if they do.
Hey, there's some scary dudes. That's why they're not coming back. Nobody
Oh
wants to
yeah,
mess with them.
yeah.
The Natural Born Thrillers, had so much potential, and
Right.
WCW ruined that one too. Another
Yeah,
great
they did.
one. Whoa,
Yeah, they
whoa, whoa! The Posse are true Hall of Famers.
Dude, come on, Daniel. You don't even believe that, bro.
We love the Posse. Okay, I'm just gonna throw that. Like we love Chet
Mhm.
Stedman and Gary Gary Busey. We're big.
What
fans.
about WCW New Blood?
Oh God, that was awful. That was awful.
That's when they started kicking out all the real stars
So
of WCW.
you know what I always question about that, and I'm a huge Bischoff. The Posse could have finished Cody's story. All right, I'm gonna forget this one. We're gonna come back to the New Blood in just a second. So we're gonna come back to that New Blood.
There needs to be a new rule that like nobody can say finish the Stoley ever again.
Finish the Stoley. All right. So we'll come right back to New Blood. Let's go to Cody Rhodes because I'll forget this if I don't, because we're nearing up on our time that we're going to finish up on this topic, so we can throw it out to the great listeners out there and what you guys want to talk about. He was in probably one of the worst factions ever of all time that people forget. It's called the Cosmic Wasteland with the Ascension.
Dude.
When he was Stardust, and they put him together with these two fucking doofuses.
You know,
do you remember this?
I like the Ascension when they were in NXT. I thought it was going to be a really, decent gimmick until they started bringing them up on the main roster, and they really cut the balls off that tag team really quickly. I don't remember this faction. It must have been a blimp in time, like that. I just didn't give a shit about wrestling.
I think this is probably why Cody quit and wanted to leave the WWE. He was getting paired with these two.
Right. He saw the writing on the wall, dude.
Oh, poor Cody on this one. That's why he had to go out. The Cosmic Wasteland was the reason he had to go out and start this story he had to finish. Let's go back to the New Blood, though. All right. Awful. But let me hear your thoughts, and then I'll come and jump in on this.
I disagreed with it because it was Bischoff and Russo coming in, and they got rid of the stars that made and established WCW for the time that they did. They were throwing out people and making people look bad. And, Ric Flair was made a joke. Hulk Hogan was made a joke on TV, even though they made him like the Superman, like Sting-esque character, the FU New Blood style that he did at the time. And yeah, man, I mean, when you got Billy Kidman in a match with Hulk Hogan in the main event, it's just not a good look for WCW at the time. They were just forcing it so hard to get these young wrestlers over, and they forgot what brought them to the dance to begin with, and that's these legends that they had over there that were just stacked. You had Roddy Piper, you had Hulk Hogan, all these guys, and then you treat them like garbage on the way out. I mean, what did you expect fans to do? You were insulting their intelligence at that point.
Yeah. And let's be realistic too. And this is no disrespect to Russo or Bischoff at this point, especially Bischoff. Why was Bischoff in the New Blood? What sense did that make? Bischoff should have been the guy if you're doing. Yeah, I know, they haven't come out in the, the opening of that restart, but Bischoff should have been the guy leading the Millionaires Club because he's the one that technically, made all these guys millionaires and all that stuff. Right. He should have been leading that. Then you had looked at a lot of the other guys that were in the factions. You had guys like Shane Douglas in it. Shane Douglas had been around since the 80s. How was Shane Douglas part of
the Dean?
Yeah, the Dean, Dean Douglas, and going with the
I have
dynamic
an autographed 8x10 of the Dean Douglas.
Dude, I bring back the dynamic dudes. Get him and Johnny Ace skateboarding together, coming out there. I mean, it just didn't make sense. And then, great point from Derek here. The New Blood tried to turn him heel for Goldberg. Horrible move.
Horrible stuff.
Awful booking, 100%. Team package, I agree with Luger and Flair was bad. I'll throw one out here for my final one, and then we'll move on tonight. Let me see if I got the picture right here. It was called the Magnificent Seven, and this was at the end of WCW. Do you remember this?
No, I don't. But good God, I mean, you got a great list of stars there, but some of it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, Road Warrior Animal, Flair, Steiner, Bagwell, Luger, Miss Elizabeth was with him, I think, and then Rick Steiner was in this
you can tell Luger's on the freaking pills there, dude.
Yeah, none of these guys were doing good. This was over and done fast because this was, I think, the last few months of WCW.
Yeah.
So, well, that's going to wrap up Worst Factions. We could do this all night long. We could spitball ideas, but we like to turn the last little bit of the show here over to you guys. So we call this segment What do you want to talk about? Let's talk about anything you want. So any questions, any things you guys want to talk about, throw your stuff out there right now, and we're going to do our best to get to them here on the last 20 minutes of the show. And if we need to go a little bit long tonight, we'll cut it. We'll keep going a little bit longer tonight. We agreed last week, me and Richie off the air, that we get going so good on some of these.
And our Tuesday crowd, we want to take care of.
Oh, absolutely.
You show up, and we want to give you some content. So
100%. So we just might have to do our radio exit at the end because we have to cut it for an hour for the radio since this is going on Saturday night from 9 to 10. But we'll keep this going for a while. So let's go right now to Jeremy says favorite faction that isn't the NWO. Who do you got? The Horsemen, DX?
NWO, Horsemen, or DX? That you just cut the three best ones out. Good grief. Wow, that's tough there. That's really tough. Who would I put next? I would definitely say the Radicals for me.
Oh, okay.
Because when they introduced those guys, I was so excited to see Benoit, Perry Saturn, Dean Malenko, all the guys from WCW that made that show each and every week, entertaining and stuff like that. I mean, those were the workhorses of WCW. So to see them get their big chance over in WWE, the Radicals are definitely one of my favorites for sure.
Jeremy's picking the Undisputed Era. That's a great one right there for him. Richard's going with Evolution. Love that one, that pick as well. Evolution, man, they were awesome. I mean, how could you beat having Flair, Orton, Batista, and Triple H? I mean,
and it gave Ric Flair a breath of fresh air on his career, and it gave him his confidence back that he got to wrestle for a long time after that. We got a lot of great storylines out of Evolution.
Yeah, I'm actually going to agree with Daniel here. Daniel and me are thinking alike here. Once again, I'll have to go with the Bloodline with how great Roman got over and got everyone else over. I'm excited about the Bloodline. Has been just a breath of fresh air.
WWE.
It has been the thing that took them from being the awful crap product that they were from 2018, 2019, and into the pandemic. And then you bring Roman back as a heel, and this guy turns the WWE upside down and brings them back to being must-watch TV again. And let's be realistic. The fans are dying for Roman Reigns right now when they see this takeover with Solo and, the Guerrillas of Destiny, and Paul Heyman's getting kind of held captive there by them a little bit. Solo's trying to take the reins, and you're hearing every week the fans chanting, "We want Roman." So, man, it's going to be an awesome moment when Roman comes back, and I got to go with the Bloodline too, man. These guys are awesome, and just what he's done. Roman Reigns has to be, in my opinion, up there in the top 5 of all time, in my opinion, from what he's done over the last 4 to 5 years. And even before that, I mean, he had a great run. He just wasn't a good babyface. He wasn't meant to be that. This is going to be his time, I think, though, Richie, to be a big babyface. Now, this is a great moment. I don't want to see it last for a long, long time because he's so good as a heel, but he's going to have a good babyface run when he comes back, and it's going to get real interesting. It's going to be a lot of fun, I think, SummerSlam and after. I think you see him come back maybe around SummerSlam at the end, or I'd save him to get in the ring maybe even till a little bit later. Build that up just a little bit more for me. I'm all down with it.
Absolutely.
All right, Derek. Would WCW survived if they pushed Jericho, Benoit, Guerrero, Booker T, and Mysterio to the main event quicker in 98, 99? They all became stars.
I think that was the biggest mistake that they made that they didn't do. They were holding on too tight for, NW. They needed to transition into something else. Right. I mean, storylines are great. Factions are great, but they can only go on for so long. And they stuck with the NWO as their end all be all for a very long time. They should have transitioned over. Jericho was obviously going to be a megastar. I don't know how they missed that. Eric Bischoff has said many a times he should have pulled the trigger on that long before he did and stuff. And when he transitioned over to SmackDown, or, what was it, New Year's Eve, when he did that promo with The Rock, I mean, you just saw it come through altogether. So I completely agree with that, 100%.
Yeah.
I think WCW would have survived.
Yeah, that was right before SummerSlam, I think it was, when Jericho came into WWF at the time. I think it was right before SummerSlam. And you saw right off the bat how good Jericho was when he was competing on the mic in the same level and was able to go toe-to-toe, like you said, with The Rock. And let's just be honest, too. It is amazing. Like when you go back and watch the old hilarious footage of Jericho has reinvented himself more than anybody in the history of professional wrestling. I would say different gimmicks. Some have failed, some have not. But go back and watch some of the stuff that he did with comedy. The guy got Ralphus over, okay? He got Ralphus over.
Was it Ralphus or Rufus?
Ralphus.
It was Ralphus. Okay.
Ralphus. And then he would make fun of Goldberg over and over again, which I absolutely loved. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah. Greenberg. Yeah, that stuff was fun.
Man, they had such talent over there. They give the belt to Benoit, and he's and you give the belt to Benoit, like you mentioned with Benoit there, Derek and Richie, you guys were talking about him. Benoit leaves the next night, doesn't even want to be a part of it anymore. I mean, come on. They had stars there. They
really did.
Unfortunately, weren't pushing the right people. They were so lost at this point,
They were jamming lost. Scott Steiner and Jeff
Jarrett
down everybody's throat every week, and I thought that was a big mistake too.
It just didn't resonate either, you know? It just didn't resonate with those two. They had such a good crop of young talent they should have done so much more with. Yeah. Heard this idea on Eric's podcast. How would you feel about a one-night-only WCW reunion next year for the 30th anniversary of Nitro? Could set it up like a Hall of Fame and let guys tell stories or do a roast of someone and put it live on Peacock. I'm all for it.
Oh, dude, 100%. I've always said they should have, if you want to do a reboot of something, I think WCW would be their best opportunity to get something going. But to do a one-night stand type of thing like ECW did, I think it'd be a good idea. You have those guys come back.
You couldn't do wrestling though. They're too old now.
No. I'm not saying wrestling. I'm saying
but like do like like Jeremy had said, like tell stories, do a roast, something like that. Hall of Fame maybe for them.
Yeah, I think that would be good. And a WCW Illuminati type show. Yeah, that would be cool. I would watch it.
He was talking about doing it at the Mall of America in Minneapolis, where the first Nitro ever, and I heard that too, Jeremy. I was popping when he's like, let's do it. He was serious about it too. He says the Conrad says, put it together in this September, and Conrad says, whoa, slow your roll down just a little bit. It takes a little bit more time to put that together, and we might be doing something. But next year on the actual 30th anniversary, it's like I'm all for it. Let's do it. I'd love to see that. I think that would be great. All right. Who is one guy you take from today and you'd put into the old ECW, obviously the heyday of it?
Now, are we talking just WWE or are we talking
anywhere
wrestling? Okay.
Anywhere.
Darby Allin, easy, no brainer. I would throw him in ECW. I would put him against Sabu, Sandman, RVD. Think of all those matches. Rhino. It would be incredible.
Yeah. Jeremy's got a great one here. Moxley.
He'd
fit the mold.
No brainer.
Yeah, he'd fit the mold 100%. Yeah. I'll give another one. I'm not a fan of him personally, and I think he's just a trash human being and a trash wrestler and all that stuff, but he fits more than anybody to the deathmatch style and the hardcore style. Nick Gage would be over like Rover in ECW. He would.
Kenny Omega, I think, would fit in there.
He could do some of his high-flying, crazy moves and things. I don't know about the hardcore style for him, though, but he could be like an RVD style.
Do you remember the John Moxley versus Kenny Omega? That match was great. They had the barbed wire spots and,
Was that the one where the ring blew up, the exploding bar?
No, that was a tag team match. That was Eddie Kingston, John Moxley.
Eddie saved him at the end. He came out and he hovered him.
The most hokey shit. That's another show we could do, like worst spots in wrestling. Like,
it was like fucking sparklers going off.
Oh my god! Like, could you imagine? Just like you're working up to this moment in a match, and all of a sudden it's like, nope.
Oh my god. Oh god, that was a bad moment. Keep it throwing out there, guys. Throw it whatever you want. We got plenty of time. Daniel's talking about Benoit. Gave the belt to Benoit, and then gave him the too late instead of too sweet. He was out of there.
He was.
When the Radicals came over to Raw, I remember seeing that, and what a cool moment that was when they
jumped Mick Foley and became part of the Helmsley faction. I was like, oh shit, this is gonna get interesting.
Well, then poor Eddie gets injured on the first night with the frog splash. Like just bad luck right from the start. But that was an awesome moment though. Jason Krantz. Hey Jason, how's it going? Nice to see you out tonight, my friend. They should do an NWO reunion show, at least the ones that are still alive. I was in Macon, Georgia, and they took it over and became NWO Monday Nitro. It was the Monday night before Hogan and Sting, and I'll never forget.
You were actually at that, Jason? That's
awesome.
Pretty cool show to say you were at, man. That's awesome.
So they had an NWO reunion a few years before Hall passed away, and you know who was actually there? He's here right now in our audience. Daniel got to be with Bischoff, Hogan, Hall, and Nash when they did an NWO reunion. And I think I don't want to speak for it because I wasn't there, Daniel, but I believe he said they did like a panel there too.
They should have had Six there too.
I agree. Six was a great member of the NWO.
He's not talked about enough in the good days of NWO.
Oh, he was so good.
He was in a lot of their vignettes. He was in a lot of their, like the Ric Flair stuff was incredible. And to be honest, he was the wrestler that was featured the most every week. That would go out in matches, with Scott Norton and Buff Bagwell, people like that. Like, there
People
wouldn't
might
have
not.
been an NWO presence on Nitro for a long time had those guys not wrestled.
This might not be a popular opinion to people. I've said it on the show before. To me, 6 in the NWO. I know it was a brief run. It wasn't that long, more than a year and a half, maybe 2 years tops. That was the best run of his career, I think, even over DX, in my opinion. That's my opinion, though. What do you think?
I don't think so.
You're going with DX?
Yeah, DX for me. I think X-Pac, when he came in there and he was the number 2 guy and he really got to stick it to them for what they did to him, I think that was a bright, shining moment for him.
Think about this, though, with his run, in WCW. He got to share a ring with Ric Flair and have a feud with Ric Flair. It doesn't get much better than that.
He did, but he also didn't get to win that match,
Yeah, he still got in there with one of the GOATs, especially at that time. Missed, however many world championships he had run at that time. So I don't know. I just got to go with it. It just edges it out to me. But I see your opinion too. That moment when he came on that Nitro or on that Raw right after, I think it was right after WrestleMania when Shawn Michaels lost to Austin the night before, and they were kind of rebuilding it. And he came out. Boy, that was something. That was a great moment. Daniel said they did a 2-hour panel just shooting it with one another. Then you got to go to the beach shop. You got a photo with the original 3 and autographs. Man, that's a cool.
Right up my alley. I would have loved that.
Man, me too. That would have been a fun moment right there. If WCW won the war, would Starrcade be as big as WrestleMania is today? Interesting.
That's a good question. If they would have won the war, I think they would have built the prestige to it eventually. I do. I think they would have got some steam behind it. And, Starrcade was their primetime show. I mean, that was their number 1 pay-per-view every year that they built all their storylines around that one day. So it's much similar to WrestleMania.
Yeah. If they would have won it, would it have been the biggest? Maybe. Yeah, definitely. If they would have won it, I guess. Starrcade was always a great pay-per-view, and people forget Starrcade went back all the way to 1983. That was the original Starrcade was in 83. And man, that was a long-running thing that they did. I know they've done like this is like house shows or something like that for WWE before. I'm surprised they didn't bring this back as a pay-per-view on its own, along with ones like Halloween Havoc and stuff like that. I know they do it for NXT, but I'm talking about as a big deal
as a main pay-per-view.
Which one?
Halloween Havoc should have been a main pay-per-view.
I know it shouldn't just be for NXT. Bring this back as a main pay-per-view. Yeah. People would love it. They would love it. Sean Waltman was in the heyday of NWO and DX. Underrated run, no doubt.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Derek. If Richard says if DX and NWO would be wrestling one another, who's going to win? Who do you got?
If I was to be the booker in this one, I would put DX over. That's just my opinion. I've always preferred DX over NWO just because, and I'm not talking about the Shawn Michaels DX. I'm talking about the Triple H DX. Billy Gunn was one of my favorites. Road Dogg, I loved. X-Pac, I loved. Triple H, I loved. And I love the edgier content. So, me personally, I like their stuff more. I would definitely put DX over NWO any day.
I'm going NWO. I'm going the opposite.
I know it.
I'm going the opposite, man. It's not just because of Hogan. Look at so if you're going to match up, just say Road Dogg, Billy Gunn, Triple H, X-Pac. Let's take out 6 from the NWO here, okay? We'll take him out, all right? We'll get rid of him for a second. Hogan, Hall, Nash. Who do you take as your number 4? I'm going to probably have to go with the Giant on this one. Bring the Giant in as a 4th member. I know. It's only because
dark times.
It's only because of 6 not being in here. Or if you keep 6 in and still keep X-Pac, I'm still going the NWO either way. Actually, let me take Giant out. I completely messed that part up. Macho Man, Hall, God. Nash, Hogan.
Yeah.
There it is. I'm sorry, Macho.
I get it. As far as needle movers, absolutely. I'm just saying I'm going based off my emotions that I felt when I watched both factions. I had a lot better time when I'd watch DX, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I emulated DX a lot more when I was a kid. I got in so much trouble saying "suck it" all the time.
Whoever this is putting the spam up in there. If you put more spam up on there, I can't read your name because it's in another language. If you put more spam up, you're blocked. So no spam. That we don't send that out here. I'm deleting your comment. You do it again, I'm blocking you. We don't allow that stuff. We don't want anybody clicking on that. So don't click on any spam and what people put up sometimes. Sorry, I just had to throw that out there. Don't put it up again or I'll have to block you. And I don't like to block people. So we just don't want anything for our listeners to get spammed or hit with.
Yeah.
Jason says, "Who's your vote? The most annoying NWO member of all time?" He's going with Conan.
Oh shit, that's a hard one.
It's a good one, Jason.
Dude, I'm gonna go with the NWO Japan guys all day long.
Jeremy mentioned that earlier, actually, in the comments.
It should have never existed in the NWO.
You and Jeremy are like in tune with everything here. He says, "How could we not forget about NWO Japan?" But worst member, who are you gonna get for the worst member of the NWO?
Damn, that's a really, really tough one. I got to go Conan too. To be honest with you, Conan. I don't like Conan as a person. I think he's a horrible individual, both in the ring and out of the ring. And I would go Conan for sure.
All right. I'm gonna have to go with, let's see, NWO Sting, Jeff Farmer. This was so bad.
Yep.
It was so bad. Yep. Jeff Farmer is taking on Motley Crue tonight. Jeff,
yep.
You excited about this matchup tonight? Yep. It's going to be the toughest contest I've ever had. Yep. One of the worst promos of all time, too.
NWO Sting was annoying, wasn't he? I mean, they could have put somebody better.
It was so stupid, bro. And it was so dumb. Jeremy's going with fake Sting, too, here. Hey, Lawrence, how's it going tonight, my friend? Great to see you out as well. Wonderful to see you, my friend.
Hey, mate.
Good day, mate. Daniel says, I'd go with Starrcade as the better overall pay-per-view in the 80s, but the star power of Hogan put WWF over. That was for a question that Jeremy had mentioned earlier, better in the 80s, WrestleMania or Starrcade. What do you got for that?
In the 80s? Oh, God, you have to go WrestleMania. Drawing power, star power, celebrities, everything. I mean, you had Trump back then. You had everybody there. I mean, everybody was going to WrestleMania.
Yeah, I mean, Starrcade had some great matches and great stuff that they did. It was awesome, but just the overall lore of WrestleMania, I got to go with probably WrestleMania for that one. Let's see. Loran said his pick was The Disciple. Oh my God, how stupid was that? Brutus Beefcake for his 90th gimmick that he said that he had at that point.
Yeah, and then they tried to have Ultimate Warrior save him from the NWO. It's like, why would you pick that guy?
Oh boy, I'm telling you, so bad, man.
Yeah,
it's so bad. Let's see. Derek says Vincent. Yeah, God rest his soul for Virgil, but Vincent was definitely.
Man, we're the Meat Sauce Mafia here.
We are the Meat Sauce Mafia, but they didn't highlight our leader properly. Okay,
dude,
they didn't highlight our leader properly there. I mean, but hey, the guy got a nice steady paycheck for all those years. Bro.
He did.
He did. He was eating meat sauce and breadsticks for days on the road.
Olive Garden forever, baby.
He was an interview I really wanted to get, like he was just somebody I really wanted to get. He was so funny with the stuff that he did, just busting himself.
Dude, they should have put Bobby Walker as the leader of the
hard work. Bobby Walker, that guy should have led.
He should have dropped a leg drop on Hogan.
And he doesn't do leg drops, bro. He jumps in tight. He walks the ropes like the Undertaker and then falls on his nuts and. The king of the botches, hard working and twerking.
Okay, everybody in this group, me and John have been on the search for hard working and twerking Bobby Walker. If y'all can help us in this search and getting this interview done, that is the one guy we need on our show. We got to find hard working Bobby Walker.
I'll say it right now, too. I'll make it worth your while if somebody could find hard work Bobby Walker, the real hard work Bobby Walker from WCW, and get us connected to him for an interview. We will make it worth your while with something fun and special. Okay. Me and Richie are collectors. We got a lot of cool stuff. We will make it worth your while if you could find hard work Bobby Walker and get us set up with an interview. We wanted this one forever just to talk about his botches and this.
It would be so much fun.
Oh, dude, we've been clowning this dude. He's even in our Hall of Fame. All right. He's non-existent and we can't find him. He's
Bobby Walker for president.
Bobby Walker. I vote for him. Jason says, I'm from Chicago, went to WrestleMania 2. Wow. All right. That's the year they simulcasted it, if you don't remember that, Richie. Chicago, New York, and LA.
Just some cool shit.
How was that, Jason? How was that experience when they were simulcasting and doing that way? I'm sure they didn't do it at the same time because I think they taped them separately, if I remember correctly. But what was that feeling like? Were you there? Was that where King Kong Bundy and Hogan took each other on? Was that from Chicago, Jason? Cool. Very cool. Let's see. Heard this today. You can only keep one. The birth of the NWO or Austin 316. Whew. Man.
You win the internet today, dude. God.
No, Jeremy's always got good. He's always got good questions and topics.
He's our Jamie, man. I'm telling you.
He's always got great insight. I'm telling you. Like this guy, he really poses good questions. Some of them I can't get all the time. That's like choosing your favorite child. God. It's like picking between them.
We got to real quick. We got to wrap it up on the radio side of things.
Yeah, stand by, everybody. For everybody that's out there listening on WDJY, make sure you come back tomorrow night. We're going to be talking the Extreme. We're going ECW. Masato Tanaka versus Mike Awesome. ECW One Night Stand 2005. And we're going to do an RVD special against the homicidal, genocidal Sabu. And once again, make sure you follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Retro Wrestling Revival Podcast. And you got to check out the lives. You're going to get some extra content. So we'll see everybody on the radio tomorrow night, and let's continue on with the conversation.
Yes, sir.
All right, getting back into it. Thanks for reminding me, because I was just about to miss my time cue on that one. Let's see. Did you talk about the Union as a bad faction? Who is the Union, Derek? Refresh me on that one. I don't remember that one right offhand. Who was that?
We didn't get to do the NWO versus Austin 316.
This is a hard one. Let's see. Good. I was trying to skip that one because it's like picking my favorite child.
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. If I had to pick, I would pick Austin 316 would stay and the NWO would go. I know you would pick the opposite just because.
No, I can't.
You're picking Austin 316.
I have to.
Hogan?
I have to. Okay.
What?
The reason being is
that you're Mr. WCW.
I am, but I also recognize the fact. Okay, here's my perspective. Okay, here's my perspective why I got to go with Austin 316. The NWO, tremendous legacy, what they brought and changed the wrestling world forever. But if you don't have Austin 316, think of how many things we would have missed out on.
As
there would be no attitude
as I am with you and stuff like that, I'm actually shocked right now that you said that.
You can't take Austin 316 away without rewriting wrestling history and all the things that happen, and it will not be as good. You'll never get the Attitude Era. You're never going to get evil Vince McMahon. You're never going to get.
Be totally satisfied with just having Hulkamania, and that's it.
I'd have to be if I had to choose between those two. There's just too many things that could go wrong by not having.
I want everybody that's still in our chat right now. I want all your answers to that question, because that is the toughest. That won the internet.
It's hard, man. It really was. It really was. I got a few right here. So hold on, Jason, real fast. Hogan and Bundy was in LA. Piper and Mr. T boxing match in New York City. Okay, awesome.
Nice.
All right. Daniel's going to say, he says, I might keep Austin 316. Hogan, Hall, and Nash were made men, but yeah. So it looks like Daniel's going with Austin 316. Derek says Austin 316 happened first. It was June 96. NWO was July 96. If that sways the vote, just the chain of events that would have been changed if we didn't have Austin 316 is it for me. It doesn't change it. As much as I love the NWO. The Corporation Rejects became the Union. Okay, Big Show, Mankind, Test, and Shamrock, summer 99.
Shamrock. That is so true, though.
I forgot about that faction too, Derek. Thanks for refreshing me on that one. All right, what else do we got? Austin 316 for Jeremy. He's throwing that one out there. Yep, Daniel got it too. Thanks, Daniel, for the Union. That's why it's good to have great wrestling fans out here that can refresh us on a few things when we forget them too. Lawrence says, I'm going to pick as controversial as it sounds, Austin 316 over the NWO myself. All right.
I'm telling you, man. It's
Richard's going me. If I had to pick 316, it's because I was a big Stone Cold fan before the NWO. All right.
Absolutely, dude.
It's a unanimous right here. Everybody in there's a good 6 or 7 votes right there for everybody.
Mantar.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What would we have kept going on with? But let's throw another.
The Goon. You wouldn't want the Goon,
bro. This is a show on its own right here. Dude. This is a topic on its own for next week.
You guys are fun. I like you guys.
Yeah, this is tough, man, because we could really dissect what we would have missed out on if we didn't have Austin 316.
Right. Maybe. I don't even want to think of a world without Stone Cold Steve Austin.
But see, it's the same thing with the NWO. If you didn't have the NWO, what things would not have been created without them? Would you have gotten it to Generation X without the NWO? They needed their version of an edgier, faction too. There's so many different variables that you can throw with this.
Yeah,
it's a hard question. It really is. Let's see, Lorraine said also at the NWO we would still have the Click. So it wouldn't be as much as a loss as Austin 316. All right.
I've got a question to pose everybody. And this is just my honest opinion. Like, do you think DX would have thrived if Shawn Michaels would have never went away? Do you think they would have had the New Age Outlaws and X-Pac and China and all of them?
No.
If Shawn Michaels was still around, or do you think they would have kept it a tag team still?
They definitely would have thrived to the level that they did if Shawn Michaels was still around, because he was such a big he was such a big star in his own, and it just worked so well with him and Triple H and China. And I know they brought Rick Rude in too, and to help be part of that faction too.
That was for a
Shawn,
quick cup of coffee, but yeah.
Yeah, Shawn was such a big star, and they needed to bring. I don't think he would have wanted to bring in other people really to be part of that group, so to speak. They had to do it though. They had to do something big when he left after WrestleMania by bringing in Waltman and then doing the New Age Outlaws. They had to do it. It created a great turn. It was probably the best thing that ever happened for those guys' careers that Shawn Michaels actually left it at that point, in my opinion. What do you think?
That's fair. No, it's a fair statement. I've always thought about that. I'm like, what if Shawn Michaels would have never left? Because when they do the DX reunions now, they have Shawn Michaels with them all the time, and it kind of like it doesn't look right. It just doesn't look right. Like when they brought back Triple H and Shawn Michaels together, it was like two different genres of DX, and you couldn't pair them together. So when they're together, it's just awkward to me. I take the point that you said though. I think Shawn Michaels probably wanted to hog the spotlight back then when he had his demons and stuff like that. He was very self-conscious, and I don't think the New Age Outlaws, they were getting over, and that's why they actually had them get in, because they were afraid they were going to get too over.
Yeah.
And then X-Pac coming back, that was a no-brainer because of the click. So
Daniel says, I think X-Pac comes over because he was HBK and Triple H's boy, but I don't see him allowing the Outlaws. And yeah, another one would agree on that. Doesn't see the Outlaws as well. Jeremy says, have you heard the conspiracy theory of HBK having put a curse on him? No, I haven't heard that, actually. I don't think I've heard that one.
Wait, Shawn Michaels had a curse put on him?
Yeah, fill me in on that.
Or are you saying that HBK put a curse on somebody?
Yeah, I've never heard this one. Throw this conspiracy theory out here. I want to hear this. Yeah. So I want to hear this.
I'm kind of posing this to y'all. I don't know. I brought this up to John. I don't know if you guys would like it, but how would you all like an episode of some wrestling conspiracy theories?
That could be a fun one. Yeah, there's a lot of them out
there.
We
can do some crazy, bizarre ones, and we can do some that are most likely true.
So if you guys want to hear conspiracy theories next week, let us know. I think that could be an interesting one, and give us some, give us some of your ideas too. Maybe we can look into them and kind of cover them a little bit. Let's see. Laurent said, would have loved to have seen the WWF make something of the real life rivalry of the Click versus BFK.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, that definitely would have been cool. And then let's see here. I'm sorry, I missed it here for a second. Derek said, I could see HBK turning babyface against a new DX if he was still there. Good point, too. Yeah, very good point. Shawn had a toy named after him. Why not a curse on him, too?
Who said that? Who's that?
Daniel.
Oh, Daniel.
Daniel, 100%. I knew Daniel's
comment of the night. Yeah. Comment of the night.
Daniel always has the singers, man. This guy's one of the funniest dudes ever. Trust me.
It is funny.
I'm good with it for sure. Man, I got to go back to this NWO and Austin one here at another day, because there's so many things that are like going through my mind as a wrestling fan when I go back and I think about it. And if we didn't have the NWO, there'd be so much we'd lose too. So I definitely want to revisit this topic in a few weeks, Richie, because
here's another good one.
There's a ton.
Here's another good one, and this is something I think that people need to think about a little bit. Yeah, Lawrence, let's do that, man. I'm definitely down for that one. What if Kane was not involved in the Undertaker story? Would the Undertaker have gotten as over as he was?
Yeah.
Without Kane. That was pretty much his whole 90s.
That was a big feud for him. I think he still would have been able to stay over.
Do we think the Undertaker could finish his story?
I think he'll finish his story. I mean, it would be definitely different without Kane, and Kane had a great role in it, but I think he would have been able to still have a great run and still continue on and find other ways. The Undertaker was always so special, but Kane sure made over. What was that?
Would Kane have got his over
without the Undertaker?
Yeah,
no way. Not without the Undertaker. That's a guarantee. Look at how many shitty gimmicks he had. He had a Unabomber gimmick. Yeah. He was an evil dentist.
Good
God. He was a Unabomber gimmick.
Yankum.
Isaac Yankum DDS. He had he had a bunch of others. What was the other one? The fake Diesel that he did too. So Kane wouldn't have got over if it wasn't for the Undertaker. I'm not saying that Kane didn't play a massive role in the Undertaker's career. He did, but the Undertaker always found a way to stay good and stay relevant on things. Derek says, Undertaker stays over because of his feud with Mankind too.
That's true. That King of the Ring Hell in a Cell match pretty much made both those guys.
Good matches, bro.
Yeah.
Those two had so many good matches. So the night of the screw job, Sean said he swears to God he didn't know about it. Brett's wife said you can swear to God all you want, but he's going to break you for this one day. 70 days later, he broke his back at the Rumble.
Man,
Woo.
good point, Jeremy.
Interesting.
I'm telling you, he's the whiz here behind the show. He's the whiz.
We got a lot of whizzes here tonight because
Yeah.
this is a darn good crowd once again that we're getting here on Tuesday nights. Our Tuesday night streams every week.
We appreciate you guys so much, by the way.
What makes it so fun?
It makes it so much fun. Like that's why we decided to extend the show. We were like, we got to make this longer.
Oh, absolutely! It's the fun conversation.
Great time.
Let's see. Laurent says Kane did all right as Doomsday in USWA, which was a prototype for his Kane character.
Okay. Nice.
Jason,
I'm just glad they got rid of the cape.
Yeah, I agree.
That was horrible.
Bad. Great question from Jason. Topic here. How about the greatest manager of all time? They are totally gone now, which is sad. Easy pick for me, Jason. There's so many great ones, but easiest pick for me, Bobby the Brain Heenan. I think Bobby the Brain Heenan is the greatest overall worker in professional wrestling history. The reason I say that is because he was a fantastic worker as a wrestler in his day. He could take amazing bumps. He was a great manager. He was a great commentator. He could do it all. He was the guy that anybody could get over with. And Bobby the Brain Heenan for me. What about you?
I'm going to go with Paul Heyman, man.
Great pick, though, too.
You have to go with Paul Heyman. He's made so many careers. He's been a mouthpiece for so many people who couldn't get their promo quite right, or he gave them time to develop their quote or, their promos and stuff like that. So, Jeremy agrees with me. Paul Heyman, yeah, absolutely. I think Paul Heyman's the GOAT. I think Bobby the Brain Heenan's a great pick, too, though.
There's so many great ones from that era, too. Paul Heyman, what a great pick, too.
Mm-hmm.
What a great pick. Daniel, I missed this comment here earlier. Brett broke a few backs behind his wife's back, too. Yes, he did.
Sunny days is what I hear.
Yes, he did, my friend. Yes, he did. Let's see. Daniel says they should have brought back the cape for the Hurricane team.
Oh, God. That would have been incredible.
Derek says, this is my first stream, and I'm glad I stumbled onto it. I'll definitely join as much as possible.
Awesome, Derek.
Hey, that's what great, man. We do this every Tuesday night. Chris and I do about every other Wednesday now for our Nitro series. And pay attention to the Facebook, Derek. Make sure you like it and subscribe if you haven't already, and everybody else as well. We put lots of stuff up on for Saturdays and Sundays. We do a lot of stuff throughout the week here. So please, we throw a lot. Great to see you out. I'm glad you love it. You're having a good time, my friend. Let me get to a few more here. I was playing the EWR Wrestling booking sim. It's WCW. Once had Kane join WCW on it, changed his name to Jacob Goodnight.
Jacob Goodnight.
Evil. I've never seen See No Evil. Have you?
I have seen. I've seen. I think there's a second one too. I watched both of them. But yeah, a great movie.
Weasel and Gorilla, so good, so gold together. I agree. They were such a great commentary team. Oh, Derek's going with Cornette, best manager. Another great pick for Cornette.
Cornette, yeah. Cornette's one of the most underrated people in the wrestling business.
He'd be my number 3. I would go Heenan, I would go Heyman, and then I'd go Cornette for my top 3 for me.
Nice.
That's just me.
Yeah.
A very underappreciated manager for all these years.
A very underappreciated mind in wrestling too.
100%. People do not recognize the contributions as much as this guy did for so many people throughout his career. And one of the brightest minds. It's just his personality drives people crazy.
Right.
Daniel's going to go with Heenan, but Heyman super close. Don't forget about the Dangerous Alliance too, and the great shit Heyman did with the Dangerous Alliance. That was an awesome faction too.
Yeah.
Two of my favorite managers, Paul Heyman as Paulie Dangerously, Jim Cornette, great pick.
Cornette, yep.
Richard's going to go with Jimmy Hart.
Jimmy Hart, wow, that's another one. That's probably top 3 for me, Jimmy Hart.
Jimmy Hart's a great manager, but I'm going to go with Jason here when I say this. I'm not taking away from him being he was great, but I think with Jimmy Hart he didn't have a lot of champions like some of the other managers did too.
Hulk Hogan.
Well, Hulk already kind of had the belt and was established already at that point. I mean, Jimmy came on later on. I'm not taking away from Jimmy. I think Jimmy's awesome, but I think he gets maybe a little bit more love sometimes than he deserves because he had some stinkers too. So, but everybody does,
He did.
Everybody does. No disrespect to Jimmy. I love him though too, Richard, and I can totally respect your, opinion on that one. What if Ric Flair hadn't went to the WWE in 1992 and revamped the Horseman? I didn't like the version of the Horseman when he came back, bro.
I didn't either.
I thought it was played out from when he came back on.
I loved the Horseman in the WCW, and I loved it prior to that too. I didn't like this era.
I just the Horsemen after that just weren't the same. I love the original version of it, with Tully and Arn and Rick and JJ. I loved all that stuff. I loved them bringing in other people like Barry. Barry Windham was great in it. He was a great member. Luger, had a cup of coffee in there. Sting. It elevated so many people. After that,
didn't they bring Sid Vicious in for a hot minute?
He was in for a while too. Sid was in before that. So man,
could you imagine if Sting would have went in the Four Horsemen?
He did.
Oh, he did. Oh,
yeah. That's how he got his original match with Flair. He was supposed to win the world title from Flair, and I believe he tore his ACL or something like that in his leg. And they had to push the feud off a year or so, until he came back. And then it was the whole feud was set up off of him getting kicked out of the Horsemen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was good. It was some pretty good stuff. I think he was in there less than a year or two. So less than a year or two. Derek's top 5: Cornette, Heenan, Heyman, Hart, and Dillon. All right,
Dillon,
JJ Dillon. He was a great manager for the Horsemen. Yeah, Mr. Fuji, another good manager.
Mr. Fuji.
Throw the old ceremonial salt in your eyes. Yep. Hit you with his cane. Mr. Fuji was awesome. He was a good.
I got to go with Chyna too. Chyna was a great manager for DX.
She played a great part. Jason says
Mango McMichael.
Yeah, Mongo McMichael, terrible Horseman. Yeah, that was in the downward slide of it. No disrespect to Mongo. We love Mongo.
You know what? I hope his family's doing okay.
I hope he makes it to the Hall of Fame, bro. We always will say that.
He's in the Football Hall of Fame. I don't know about the Wrestling Hall of Fame.
No, for Football Hall of Fame, he's going in this year. So he wants to go to Canton for his induction this summer. So
I thought his wife was at this last Super Bowl. She was there.
They're doing the I think it's right before the season starts in August in Canton, Ohio for
the induction.
Yeah, for his induction. I hope he makes it to the induction.
So he got announced, and then now they're doing the induction.
Yeah, and he's just holding on, man, and keeps fighting. Mongo, I hope he makes it. That's such a big moment for him. So such a big moment. Flair would have went to WWF as soon as he could if he didn't go by 92. Horseman had no chance at that point with Tully and guys like Ole pretty much done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Top 5 technical wrestling that you will have for a teammate. All right. If I'm going to team up with the best technical wrestlers, give me I'll put a few out here. Dean Malenko. Okay. We're looking at technical wrestlers here. Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig, I'd go with. Bryan Danielson, great technical worker as well. And I'll go for my GOAT, my top partner I'd pick for that. No, let me get another one. Benoit would be in there too. My number 1, though, that I'm picking is going to be Bret the Hitman Hart. Got to throw Kurt Angle in there too. I can't believe I missed him. I'll have to bump a few of them down. Huh. So number 1, 2, and 3 for me, I'll go with Bret Hart. I'll go with Benoit, and then I'll go with Angle for my top 3.
Nice.
What do you got?
Shoot, that's really tough. You got to put Dean Malenko in there. You got to put Chris Benoit in there. Chris Benoit, I would say, is probably my top. Like, he's my top.
He's so good in the ring.
Yeah, Kurt Angle, absolutely. How could you not mention him? Mr. Perfect's great. I'm gonna go with Owen Hart though.
Oh,
you got to put Owen Hart in there.
Good pick.
One of the greatest of all time, one of the greatest, most technical wrestlers of all time, and sometimes I think he outshined Bret the Hitman Hart, but I think he could have been the more shining star.
How could I forget Flair too? In his heyday, Flair another one. There's just so many good ones that you can throw in for technicals. Me being a Bret Hart guy, that's why I got to go with him. And Benoit to me was such a tremendous talent.
You couldn't find a bad Benoit match.
He's so fucking good, man. Eddie Guerrero too. Technical wrestlers. Eddie Guerrero, another one. There's just so many of them that we could throw out there. That'd be great ones.
Yeah, for sure.
JJ Dillon, great manager, horrible authority figure. Maybe the worst.
Oh God,
yeah, he is terrible.
That was bad.
He's like watching paint fucking dry when you see him on Nitro. I think paint drying was more entertaining than JJ as the authority figure. He'd always get that voice. All right, Sting. If we don't get an answer tomorrow, we're gonna have to strip you of your title.
And that is final.
Yeah. And that is my word, straight from the WCW commissioning board.
Yeah.
Oh God, Lariat is going with. Top 5, no particular order. Bret Hart, Hennig, Angle, Owen Hart, Austin, great worker too.
That's a great one.
Great. People forget. Go back and watch his WCW stuff. His Stunning Steve Austin, fucking dude was good, man.
Yeah,
he was still great in WWF.
Yeah, for sure.
Still great. Jeremy's gonna go with here. Kurt Angle, Danielson, Hart, Benoit, Kyle O'Reilly. Interesting pick there.
Kyle O'Reilly. Wow.
He's a great worker, though. If you ever watch his stuff, you remember him
Yeah.
from the Undisputed Era.
Oh yeah.
I
Kyle
don't.
O'Reilly's good.
That's an interesting pick right there. Love it. All right. Barry Horowitz is crying somewhere, not making these lists. Well, he is
Dude.
Mr. Technical. You know, that's his nickname.
What about Jim Powers, dude?
Dude, Jim Powers. We got to get him out of the bar. Hey guys, this is Jim Powers. If you want to get a cameo to tell your kid happy birthday, you can hit me up. If your daughter's getting married, let me know. I'll give her a toast for the thing. Oh God, the Jim Powers cameos is just legendary stuff.
Right.
Man, how did I miss this one? HBK. Great one.
That's a really good one.
Missed that one. I just, like I said, there's so many to think about. It's hard on the fly to hit that one.
Very true.
All right, Lance going to throw Ken Shamrock in there. Ken was a fun worker too.
Ken Shamrock, yeah.
He was a fun worker.
Wrestler. And an anomaly too. He got it so quickly.
Yeah. If he just could have showed up on time, as Jim Ross has said through the years, if he just could have shown up on time, it would have, you know, they probably would have given him a world title run, but he was so undependable. Yeah. Jim Powers. He makes the list as the most likely to drink during a match. Or he's the most likely to come to the ring fucking stone cold wasted, man.
Dude, Bret Hart once mentioned El Dandy as being the most technical.
He's a jam up guy, bro. Come on.
He's a jam up guy.
How dare people besmirch the good name of freaking El Dandy?
El Dandy.
Jason says Bret Hart, Malenko, Raven, Guerrero, and Luger.
Raven.
Yeah, interesting.
That is interesting.
Interesting on Raven and Luger. You know, Luger, great look, great overall presence, technical work. I've never heard that one. So interesting. I love different opinions.
What about William Regal?
Another great one.
Yeah.
Dude, William Regal's dude is tremendous.
Yeah.
Tremendous authority figure, too. Probably one of the best
I forgive him for the shitty Goldberg match, but yeah, William Regal's great.
Lawrence, another good one. Dustin Rhodes, great worker. The natural, baby. Dustin Rhodes. All right, Derek says, who had the best frog splash?
Ooh.
RVD, Eddie, or D'Lo? Hot take. I say RVD. Man, I got to go with Eddie Guerrero.
I gotta go with Derek, man. RVD. His were so crazy. Like he would get so much airtime, you know. So I gotta go with RVD.
So good. That's a hard choice. D'Lo had a good one though too, but it definitely wasn't RVD or Eddie. I gotta go with Eddie.
It sucks. The frog splash is kind of fading away with these guys, you know.
I know. It was such a cool move when he would do it. And Rob, I love when Rob would do it because he'd, you know, sell the ribs afterwards and everything like that, like he was dying. Mm-hmm. All right. Lawrence, honorable mention. Tully and Arn, great workers there in their own right, too.
Absolutely.
El Dandy fears no man, but boy, do they fear El Dandy.
He's like the Chuck Norris of wrestling, man.
Jeff Jarrett for Lawrence, too.
Jeff Jarrett.
Pretty good work. Jason's going to go with Chavo as well.
Chavo.
I like that one. Chavo's Frog Splash. Great one for that.
Yeah, Chavo.
Let's see. Better version, Road Warriors NWA or LOD and WWE. Man, another hard one.
That's a tough one. I'm going to go LOD WWE. I thought Road Warriors were terrible in NWA.
You didn't like them there?
No.
They bounced around a lot. They were great in NWA in Japan. They had some great feuds, badasses, awesome music with the Iron Maiden that they would come out to. I got to go with LOD and WWE. One of my favorite moments, even though he was still fucked up out of his mind when he came down, was when they came out at Wembley Stadium on the bikes for the LOD.
That was cool.
And you got Paul Ellering, strapping on that fucking ventriloquist Rocco.
Yeah.
That was the dumbest fucking shit ever.
Yeah.
That ventriloquist. And I've said it before here in the show, and Road Warrior Animal has told this story, God rest his soul, when he was still alive and at his show. They said, whatever happened to Rocco? And he says, they actually left Rocco behind in Wembley Stadium when they went to fly back. They didn't want to fucking do it anymore. They could not handle any more Rocco. So that's what happened to Rocco. They left him behind. Somebody in, England might have old Rocco right to this day. Do you remember the Rocco the ventriloquist?
I do remember Rocco. Yeah.
Stupid.
They were trying to ditch that shit.
Oh, Rhino, great spear. Rhino had an awesome spear.
Yeah, that's another good one. Who had the best spear? I got to go Goldberg with the best spear ever, though.
Okay. I like Derek's take on this one. I'm going to go with Rhino. I'm going to go with Rhino.
I mean, I can understand why you feel that way.
WWF would kind of bounce them around a lot. I think they should have built them up a little bit more dominant in WWF at that point, but they were going through some stuff, or Hawk was going through some stuff at that time. Road Warriors AWA, yeah.
Yeah,
You can't
that's a
forget that
legendary
version
run
too.
there. Yeah.
They had that, what would they call it? Like the Superfest or something, guys. I can't remember that one for that, Lawrence. If you were an AWA fan, they had like this big event every year called like the Superfest or something. And there's some really cool moments that they had. The better Rocco, WWE LOD Rocco or WCW Rocco Rock. I'm going with the ventriloquist.
I'm going with WCW Rocco Rock.
He loves Rocco.
We watched ECW with them, and come on, man, they got you over a little bit.
In ECW, they did. There's only 2 times I've ever put the Public Enemy ever over, and it's 2 times. One was last week when we did the ECW watch.
Johnny Grunge and Rocco Rock, man.
Yep. Yeah, it was AWA Super Clash. There you go. Super Clash. That was their big, version of WrestleMania that they would do it every year. Best DDT, Jake or Arn? Jake the Snake.
Jake the Snake. Oh,
Arn's got a great one though.
Yeah.
Jake hit you with that DDT, and it was over. You weren't getting
I thought
up.
the Rock's DDT was a really good DDT as well.
Yeah.
Rock had a really cool one.
Man, these are some great ones. All right, I'm going to go do a couple more here, and then we're going to wrap it up for tonight. Let's see. Richard says Sandman, Sabu, RVD, and Rhino versus Eddie, John Cena, Randy, and Chris Benoit. Who will win and why? I'm going with Eddie, John, Randy, and Chris Benoit. That's an unfair combination right there. Yeah. Sandman would be drunk by the time he got to the ring, so he's about useless. He's going to hit him with a cane.
Sabu would probably kill himself with the barbed wire spot.
He'd fuck up a spot somewhere and accidentally, break his neck or his leg jumping somewhere. RVD would be carrying the match for sure. Rhino would be fun and spearing people, but that's why I'm going with it.
Yeah.
Steamboat will say Jake's was better. Yeah, he knocked his ass out.
Yeah.
Boy, Jake's freaking DDT was a good one. One last thing right here. All right, Jeremy beat him to punch here. In their prime, this is for Richie. Vampiro or Darby?
Oh, dude.
This is all Richie.
Jeremy, you must. Oh, dude, we're on the same wavelengths as wrestling fans, I think. I got to go Vampiro. He's one of my favorites of all time. Love the character, love the style of the character, the darkness of the character. Always thought Vampiro should have had way more of an upside in the U.S. market than he did. Darby Allin's great. I'm not taking anything away from him. I think those two together could have told a great story in a match against each other, or even as a tag team. I think that would have been a really cool tag team to make as well. If I'm putting somebody over, I'm going to have to go Vampiro just because I'm biased. Vampiro is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. So.
All right. So, I'll leave my personal opinions about Vampiro out, and I'll throw this strictly to wrestling. So, Vampiro. I got
his stuff with Pentagon Jr. was, I mean, for the shape that he was in at that time to do that match with Pentagon Jr. and have the match of the year, incredible storytelling. I mean, Vampiro, I know you feel the way you do about Ian.
I leave out the personal. I'm just talking about the wrestler.
But Vampiro, the wrestler, is a hell of a storyteller. I will tell you that much. All of the stories that he's told have grabbed me in as a wrestling fan every single time. The stuff with Sting I thought was legendary, with the exception of the New Blood stuff. I thought the stuff with Sting was legendary. Pentagon Jr., that was great stuff. He's always been a great character to me. I thought Vampiro was really cool.
He had a great mind for the business and still does, though, too.
Still does.
Yeah. He really, I can say it from experience dealing.
He's a Mexican legend too, Mexican wrestling legend.
He's probably and I'm not the biggest Lucha Libre, I'm not a big knowledgeable guy on too much with there. I'm not Dave Meltzer or Mike Tenay or any of these guys or anybody that's a big, aficionado on that. I mean, he's probably Vampiro. He's pretty close to the number one draw ever in Mexico, I think. Behind Conan, I think him and Conan are right, kind of neck. No, Conan takes him, in the Mexican side of things is probably the greatest draw. I mean, you had, Mil Mascaras too, that was up there. I know I'm missing some because I'm not a huge AAA guy, but Vampiro is close to the number one draw in Mexico history. So
of all time.
And let me tell you from personal experience, the guy's a smart dude when it comes to his philosophies on the business. He's just a fucking train wreck of a human being, and he's a train wreck in his head. And he's the type of guy to me that there was so much potential for him to do so much more with how over he was and how much
people love him. Still,
they loved him. He can draw him in. He's a very, even personally, when if you ever met him or you know him a little bit, I don't know him very well, just the few months that I worked with him. And let me tell you, like, he's a very endearing guy at certain points. You know,
I challenge you all. There's a great documentary that came out.
Nail in the Coffin.
Nail in the Coffin: The Rise and Fall of Vampiro. I have it on DVD. Go out there and get you a copy of it and watch it. If you want to really learn the legend of Vampiro, it's a great documentary to watch.
And funny known fact is here about that too is,
and Vampiro still owes me $40, by the way.
Yeah, he owes a lot of things to people. I didn't say that. I'm gonna leave that one out there. He actually announced it on our show together about Nail in the Coffin when we did it. Yeah. That was the first place he got picked up, and that was when he announced it. Was when we were doing that show together with it. It's an interesting documentary. It's hard for me to watch some of it though, but I'm not going to get into that part on air, so I'll leave that out. And I'll just say some of it was hard to watch for me, knowing certain things. You know, from my interactions. So, but great performer. So I'm going to go with Vampiro on that one too. Jeremy says, the last match with Penta was amazing. That was awesome.
We're supposed to do a part 2. We'll see if it happens.
Let's see. Conan is like the Bret Hart of Mexico, and Vampiro is the HBK. Good analogy right there.
Very true.
All right. Was the Invasion and Alliance story in 2001 the biggest missed opportunity? 100%.
Yes, 1,000,000%.
Yeah. Could have done so much with it. Still could be going on now with WCW.
Absolutely.
He bought him out of spite.
They should have had Shane McMahon run WCW. I will say that till the day I die.
La Parka, Jason. You're talking about La Parka.
La Parka, the chairman of WCW.
Drunk Jeff Jarrett cracks me up in Nail in the Coffin. Yeah. Boy, Jeff Jarrett did some controversial stuff in Mexico, bro.
He did.
He really did. All right, everybody. We had a blast with you tonight.
As always.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
you guys are great, man.
We went an extra half hour here, and it's just a blast to go an extra half hour. We really appreciate all your great comments, everybody that popped through. Once again, make sure you like and follow the page. Give a big thumbs up to the video if you're watching on Facebook. If you're on YouTube, checking this out later on, hit that thumbs up button too. We'll greatly appreciate it. And if you're watching on Facebook, if I could ask a favor, can you go over to our YouTube? We're so close to monetizing it. And could you follow our YouTube page too, Retro Wrestling Revival Podcast, because we're within really close, I'll just say, of being able to monetize the page. And I would really appreciate it if you could follow our YouTube as well. If you're not,
it'll help us bring more content to you, and we can do more shows. We can do more stuff like this where it's interactive and stuff. You guys can pick the topics. I mean, we're having a blast. You guys showing up each and every Tuesday is why I do it. Me and John have great shows with you guys, and you're a great group of people, and we're having fun, man. That's what it's all about.
Oh, absolutely. This was a blast. This was one of my favorite streams we've ever done tonight. You guys were amazing. Thanks, Loran. It's been a pleasure. Derek said, subscribe. Thanks for the fun tonight. Hey, thank you, Derek. And
Derek.
Jeremy said, more tough questions coming for next week. That's what we love about doing this, guys. So come back. We're here every Tuesday night from usually about 9 to 10 we'll start, just depending upon our work schedules for the day, Eastern time. So we would love for you to come back. And once again, check our Facebook, because we got great shows coming up on the radio and audio every week. So we're out in the markets in Denver. We're in San Francisco. We're in New York now. We're in, of course, Atlanta. You know, great market is our Atlanta that we're on every Sunday and Saturday night from 9 to 10 p.m. on WDJY. You don't have to live in there to listen to it. You can click on the internet links. And please, we do have a lot of great time. Tomorrow on the radios, or Sunday on the radio, Richie and I are going to tape that after tonight, is going to be another extreme night. We're going to check out some extreme championship wrestling. And Chris and I might be back tomorrow night. I'll see if I get back from work in time tomorrow night to be able to do it. So if we can do it tomorrow, come back tomorrow too. So we really appreciate it.
Check out our random conversations as well, man.
I got to throw that out there. I didn't forget that.
Random conversations, man. It's not a wrestling podcast per se, but it's a podcast about life. And me and John, we don't get really pigeon-toed into a corner to where we have to talk wrestling and we talk everything else. So it's a good show too, man. Some of it's comedy, some of it's serious stuff, some of it's conspiracy stuff, and we just talk about life and give our perspective on things. So come over there and enjoy that as well. Richard, man, we appreciate you coming out. Welcome to the show for the first time, and keep on showing up, man.
Everybody, been a pleasure as always. We so appreciate it, and we can't thank you all enough for coming out and joining us. And we hope you come out each and every week with us. So we're going to sign off. For Richie, I'm John. We appreciate you all again. Thanks again, Daniel, too. I didn't want to miss you as well. And you guys have a great night, a great week. Whenever you check this out, we hope you're doing wonderful. And make sure to keep on coming back and checking out the great times we have right here on the Retro Wrestling Revival.